How do you stay sane on maternity leave? It's like supposed to be the most relaxing time and turns out to be the craziest and also most boring time. In this video, I'm going to teach you what I did to stay sane on maternity leave. Go to a parents' meetup. If you haven't heard of one of these, it might be a good time to start to look for a parents' meetup. Sometimes they're called mommy meetups, sometimes they're called parent and me or mommy and me meetups. But in my area, I found quite a few of them. And the one I went to when my child was first born is where I met all my friends who kind of saved my sanity for the next year. So you never know who you'll meet if you get out of the house during maternity leave and start going to a parent meetup where you can bring your baby. Plan a trip in the future. Whoa, this sounds like a big step, but we have to remember that newborns are going to grow and they're going to become bigger babies, and you can travel with a bigger baby. So for us, even though our first trip with our baby was just 2 hours driving north into the mountains for a weekend, that helped us see that there was going to be a future, a fun future, past maternity leave, where we could be traveling as a family and having new experiences together. Take newborn photos. This might be a funny one for a lot of people, but it can be so rewarding to set up your newborn in a cute outfit with some nice lighting and in a nice spot in the house and take some memorable newborn photos that you'll have forever to look back on. And just think about it. You're never going to be having this type of time again. And when you go back to work, you'll really wish you did this type of stuff, because once you get cute newborn photos, even if you take them on your phone, you can print them, send them to family, do a birth announcement, or just put them in your child's baby book or photo album and look at them in the future, because they'll never be this small again. Get a new hobby. This sounds like one of those lofty goals for maternity leave that I had for myself, and it kind of is. But some people do find that they have more time than they thought they would on maternity leave, especially if you have some type of help. And for me, I didn't have that much help and my child didn't take too many naps. So I was kind of awake all the time. But when you are feeding your baby and you're looking for something to do on your phone, there actually are a lot of ways to learn something new on your phone. For me, one of them was downloading apps and trying to learn a new language, which for me is a lot of fun, and maybe it's fun for you, but there are apps that can really kind of teach you anything. And you could also be reading audiobooks, listening to audiobooks. There are lots of hobbies you can take up when you're feeding a newborn. Plan a get-together with old friends of yours. I like this one because it's one of the most fond memories that I have of something I did during maternity leave. I realized that you could either sit in your living room with your baby, or you could have your old friends over and maybe one of them can bring their baby and you can all sit together in your living room that way and have way more fun. And when my friends came to visit me, we got sushi, we made a day of it, we kind of just played with our babies on the floor, and that was it. It was way more interesting and saved my sanity than just having a regular old weekend at home during maternity leave. Listen to a podcast. Well, for me, I listened to thousands of podcasts, and that was while I would be feeding my baby, or if my baby was sleeping on me or sleeping in the carrier, or if I was going for a walk around the neighborhood and had no one to talk to, I would listen to podcasts. And A, they helped me feel more connected to current events and what was going on in the world. B, I learned a ton of new stuff, and I learned about new podcasts out there. So I recommend listening to podcasts on maternity leave. Try working out. Now, this one can be daunting, especially if you're less than 6 weeks postpartum and you're feeling really sore, tired, and like you don't want to do anything, but it is going to get better. And once it gets better, you might be able to get back into your old hobbies of yoga, Pilates, walking, biking, even running. And the key is to take it slow, but you can get there again once your body gets out of the birth phase and you get into recovery and becoming yourself again. So something to do during maternity leave is to take back up those hobbies again. And you don't even have to get rid of your baby. There are workout classes. If you search in your area for Mommy and Me yoga or Mommy and Me movement class, there are ways to go to a new type of workout class. It won't be like old times, but you can take your baby, and it's a great way to meet new moms also. Call a friend on the phone. And why? Why is that something to do during maternity leave? Reconnecting with an old friend can be an amazing way to feel less alone, to feel like you're doing something, and you might even get a friend who's also on maternity leave, maybe from high school, maybe from college or earlier in your life, maybe a cousin. And it's an amazing way to connect and talk about what's going on, especially while you're walking around your neighborhood, kind of just alone with your baby. I've had great experiences reconnecting with old friends on the phone, maybe for a call once a week, and it makes you feel a bunch less isolated and a bit more productive. Join a support group. And this was something that it took me a long time to wrap my head around. But joining a support group for new moms, or sometimes they're called postpartum support groups, is an excellent way to get out your feelings and also to be talking with other moms and maybe a psychologist or a therapist about what you're going through in becoming a parent. What I really liked about my support group was that it was like a no pressure environment. It was totally virtual and it was on Zoom. And during my support group sessions, my baby could be sleeping, my baby could be feeding, my baby could be doing really anything as long as I was able to engage and listen and talk. And it was very therapeutic. So I recommend that, especially if you're looking for a way to save your sanity during maternity leave. Start a friend group of moms. This is kind of everyone's dream, and if you don't have one, the way to do it is really just to start networking. You can network on Facebook, you can network in groups online, you can ask around for anyone that your friends or family knows who might also have a baby the same age. And starting a close group of moms is kind of like the best way to not be going crazy, especially in this new life as a parent that you're trying to figure out day by day. Go walking at the mall. Maybe you hadn't considered this, especially if the weather's really great outside, but if you gave birth in the summer and it's super hot, or in the winter and it's super cold, finding an awesome mall to go walking around is a way to get steps. Remember that there's life outside your house, and to get your baby in the stroller and practice getting out of the house with your baby, maybe for more than an hour at a time. And also being able to practice what you're gonna bring, how you're gonna feed the baby, how you're gonna change the baby in a mall bathroom or a department store, and then maybe treating yourself to a latte or something like that. So this is a great way that I stayed sane, especially in the coldest of months and when it was snowing, raining, really just too cold to be outside, and I didn't wanna be walking outside anyway. Collect more stuff for your baby. And what do I mean by this? Well, babies grow fast, and by the time your maternity leave is almost over, your baby might go from newborn clothing to 0 to 3 months, or maybe even 3 to 6 months, and you realize that you have to get that together. Instead of buying it all, there are loads of ways that I have found to get that type of stuff for free. And if you surf mom groups and baby groups and town groups in wherever you're living, you can find people giving stuff away, or you can even ask if anyone is giving away girl clothes in 0 to 3 months, boy clothes in 3 to 6 months, and start developing more of a wardrobe for your baby. This is a project that you can do on maternity leave, and it's a way to stay a little more sane too. Reconfigure your baby's nursery. And you might be thinking, well, I don't know if that's a way that I would consider staying sane on maternity leave, but here's the thing. Our baby didn't sleep in the nursery until about 4 months old. So the nursery itself was kind of like a holding space, and it was a place where the clothing and the diapers lived. And when we realized that we really needed to make moves on making it a livable room where the baby was gonna sleep, we moved around the furniture. We made it work for us. And this was something that I was able to do on maternity leave with Dan, who had really great ideas about how to get this done. And it was kind of like going from a baby nursery in theory to a baby nursery in practice. And we treated it like a project. And the thing about maternity leave is when you have a project and then you feel productive, it brings back those old emotions you used to have when you were back at work and doing something and then completing a project and feeling good about it. And that's how we treated reconfiguring the nursery. It sounds silly, but trust me on this, you might want to do something like reconfiguring a nursery. Organize a meetup. Organize a meetup for new moms. Sounds hard, and it can be, but if you don't have a meetup in your area and you really want to be meeting moms, why not try to start one? All you really need is a few kind of close contacts and then a way to branch out, start maybe a mom's group, and I have an article about how to do that. And you can start a weekly meetup of moms with babies or pregnant moms, whoever else you want to invite. And it's a great way to stay social, as well as make sure you're staying connected with other people and continually meeting people on maternity leave. Treat yourself. Well, this is something I'm pretty bad at doing. I've always been bad at treating myself. But sometimes I would go on a walk with my baby and I would take my mom with me or a friend and I would say, let's get gigantic blueberry muffins. And if I had that to look forward to, and that was kind of like, just like the pinnacle of my day, I wasn't as crazed as I thought I was, because you have to get out of your house, go get something you want, and it brings you this type of joy that you can remember that you used to have. Because maternity leave is a time when you can start feeling a little bit crazy if you're not having the interpersonal interactions you used to have when you had a job and a schedule and a routine. And getting out and going to either do errands, then treating yourself by whatever you want, whether it's a latte, a muffin, a piece of cake, go for it. Sleep. The next one is sleep, and this one's probably the hardest because everyone says sleep when the baby sleeps, and what if the baby doesn't sleep? Well, trying to get some help, maybe get someone to watch the baby so you can sleep, or maybe your spouse is around on the weekends and can take the baby out so that you can get a nap in. Getting some sleep for me was the key to not feeling as crazed and kind of out of my own body and mind on maternity leave. And it's definitely the hardest in this list also. Start a Strava account. This isn't for everyone, but if you were into fitness before the baby, and if you want to get back into fitness, getting an app like Strava, which is it's a social kind of fitness app, and I have a bunch of friends on it who use it, and you can follow each other and see each other's workouts. And you don't even have to be running or biking or doing a marathon. You can even track workouts, like if you do a 10-minute stretching class on YouTube, or if you go for a walk around the block. Those are things you can do. And for me, logging my activity on Strava made me feel a bit more productive and kind of like I was getting back into things I used to do while on maternity leave, which again it can be such a struggle for so many people. And the last one is research your childcare options for when you go back to work. Maybe this is going to be, like I mentioned, in 6 weeks, and maybe it's going to be in 6 months. There are loads of ways to research what is going to happen to your child and who's going to be caring for them, whether that is a nanny. And so during maternity leave, it's a time to start researching nannies or nanny shares and doing interviews of nannies, maybe talking to them first on the phone or doing a Zoom call and then meeting them in person, having them meet your baby, or starting tours of daycares in your area or preschools or any type of care center that your child might go to when you go back to work. I have a load of resources on how to choose a daycare, so you could check that out at my blog. But for me, personally, I didn't tour too many, and I felt good about what I saw. So toward the end of maternity leave, I spent prepping for my child's start in daycare, which meant labeling lots of stuff, getting that emergency bin ready, getting the supply of diapers, wipes, and figuring out how I was gonna send in feeding and food and all that. I hope that in this video, you got some new and fresh ideas about how to stay sane on maternity leave, and that maybe you even learned that you're not the only one going through how you feel right now, being on maternity leave and kind of feeling like confused, like wasn't it supposed to be something else? Throughout this list, I tried to help you out with new things to think about, ways to think about maternity leave, and ways to feel productive and to be learning something, as well as connecting with new friends, old friends, and all the types of friends you could be making in between. So from me to you, best of luck staying sane on maternity leave, and I hope you find some unique things to do with your time. Catch you in the next one.